Okay, I'm going to do my quick recap on today. As you can tell from the video title, not the best day. Hit my maximum stop, which was around about negative 225 on the day. That's what it's there for. It's not fun, but the way I look at it is that my biggest winning trades will make that back in one trade. So I always keep my risk to that. I know that I'm never going to get more than a couple of setups a day, certainly in the current market conditions. So allowing myself to take 4, 5, 6 trades and digging a massive hole for myself doesn't really make sense. So not the best day today. We'll get through it. We'll go through the trades. The main watch list I had today was SOPA. Thought process here is we've obviously had this massive move from around the $4 mark. We spiked all the way up to 23. My concern pre-market in this, and I didn't prep as well as I should have done, and if I had done, I'd have probably focused more on this sort of thought process. But when I look at it, the issue that I have with a sort of like a typical short or getting in short early is people who bought this breakout here are definitely not in the trade anymore. They either sold on day one for 3 or 4 points, or they sold on day two if they held it for 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 points. So that means that the big sort of group of buyers that you would normally have here, they've got out of it. The easy money, I like to sort of like look at it as, was in here. And the opportunity for that, if we just go to the 5-minute chart, it's not one that I really take advantage of because it was the second day of a move. But we can see that you have this first move up here, holds, squeezes again. The opportunity would have been to get it short on this day. There wasn't one for me to get in short, so there wasn't a great opportunity to get involved in, sort of like around the $19 mark. And then a couple of days ago, the first red day, which is a day that I did take a trade on, was in here. So the easy money is gone, and you can always tell with these when the easy money is gone because these kind of sharp moves down that we have here and here, and even to an extent this here, these are stop losses being taken. And once a few of them have gone, you have to ask yourself who is actually long in this trade anymore, because without them, we're not going to have that sort of like really big unwind. So if I'd have been a little bit more professional today and prepped, I'd have probably had that as a main note as do not trade this until we've had a clear move higher. I was also watching MU. Idea here was that the $95 mark is a really key breakout area, and if we take that out, there's a pretty good chance we'll run to the all-time highs and maybe take that out. I traded large cap stocks only to the long sides, and I pretty much only trade them at really key levels, thinking that if momentum is going to come into them and they get a really nice run, it's going to be at those levels. The sort of like the old saying of every trend starts with a breakout, trying to catch that breakout to catch the start of a trend. And then I also took a trade today on ISIG. This one wasn't great. We'll go through that. The thought process was big day yesterday, big squeeze. So I was thinking we might get a second day. We were gapping up. On these, I really want to wait for a bear trap and then to take it long, which I didn't do. We'll go through that. Onto the trades themselves. The first trade I took was on MU, and this one I think I actually executed very nearly okay. The big thing is whenever I take a losing day, hit my maximum loss, because my strategy has a pretty high win percentage and really good risk rewards, I know that if I've taken a max loss, the likelihood is I've screwed up, and I did screw up today. It's then just identifying where those screw ups are and what we can do better for next time. The mistake I made here was getting in with too much sizing, having not enough of a stop. I jumped in this on the $95 break perfectly to plan. If we just come back to here, this is ideal. Where I put my stop, however, wasn't particularly good. The stop should at the very least been to this 94.15, which is around about a point, and maybe it should have even been to like 94 exactly. So I should have only taken 100 shares, risked to 94. Instead, I took 170 shares and risked to 94.50. I think the idea isn't awful. I think a lot of the longs I've taken recently have been the types where it's a squeeze. They go quick and they give a big move very quickly if they're going to go. So you can have a tight stop. This one, being completely honest, this is a longer term play. I should have given it more room to work out. So I got long at the 95.06 and I stopped out down here at 94.45. And as you can see, it never touches 94. And The way I would have traded is if I had 100 shares. Once it took out this 95.32, I'd have then moved my stop to here at 94.17, so I wouldn't have moved it very much. Maybe I'd have moved it more. And then once we took out this high here of 95.67, and certainly once we put pressure on this 96 area, I would have probably moved it to below this and would have stopped out for a loss anyway. But it wouldn't have been as big. It would have probably been a $20 loss rather than a $100 loss. So my mistake there, a bit too much size. The idea worked out. You know, it's unfortunate it didn't work when I was in it, but it did end up really giving a big move. We can see that from my entry, it actually gave to the high of day, it gave around $1.72. So it did go, just not when I was in it. It's unfortunate. It just goes to show you can be bang on right with something and take a loss, and that's trading. Second trade I took was on SOPA, and as I was talking about before, we've had these big drops, and we've even had one here. So I should have really been looking at saying I need to wait for one of two things. Either longs to come back in, or if we go to like the 15-minute chart, find the line in the sand where once it breaks, it's going to come crashing down, and wait for that to break. When that breaks, then look for a play, because anybody who is long in this area here may well be holding a piece so long as it holds over 1250. So we will get a stop losses going through there, and then under that, it's going to completely lose interest. Nobody's going to be buying, and people are going to continue to look for shorts. I got in too early. I think the MU loss played in my mind a little bit too much, and I was then trying to force a winner. So I jumped in right in here, and from a 1 minute pattern, this isn't too bad. We have a spike off the open, we hold VWAP, we try to push again, lots of volume comes in and it gets rejected, holds VWAP, sells off. And at this point here, you know, it has this break below VWAP. This is a very, very nice signal for a short, because we've got potentially long strapped up here, long strapped in here. But this is not a stock lots of people can be looking at, and there's just not that many people who will be trading at this point. So we really need to wait for a lot of longs to come in to give us that that fuel essentially to make the short work. I got stopped out of this one, sort of around about the 1540 area, which would have been, which was annoying, 1550 I think actually, and took an $83 loss with borrows and everything. It's more like a $95 loss. And these two trades alone, you can see trading can be frustrating because both of them, I had the right idea, I just didn't execute great. Where this trade was actually, I think, good was once we'd had a really nice bullish pattern fail. And the reason I liked it after that is we've got this sort of like wedge that anybody who did have SOPA on the back burner just looking for a long could have got involved in. Massive volume here. These are the biggest volume candles we've actually had since the open on this day, or since this day here where we ripped, where we really squeezed. So we know that we've just, one, got a load of shorts out of the position, two, enticed a lot of longs into the position. And when we've got rid of shorts and we've filled up with longs, if it starts selling off, all of those longs are going to be selling for a loss, and all of the shorts who got out are going to be looking to get back in. So that's what I wanted to wait for. I wasn't patient enough on this one, which is a shame because there was a really good opportunity to get in around about the 15.28 level. The risk would have been to 16. I don't see any reason to give it more than that. So around about 80 cent. For me, I'd have taken around about 120 shares here. I would have then added another 80 through low of day to give me 200 shares at an average of 14.80. I do get that this is all hindsight and hypothetical, but this is what my strategy is. It's annoying that I didn't take it. And then my first target wouldn't have been until these lows here around about 1366. I think there's a pretty high chance that given it was just chopping around, once it took out these lows here at 1391, came down to 1375 and bounced, I think there's a decent chance that I would have got out at 1380, 1385, 1390 maybe even, locked in 200s. $190, $180 on the trades and been happy with it. If I hadn't and I'd really stuck true to no, I'm going to wait until 1366, then I'd have been getting out of the position around here. Probably not for too much more, 220 or so. So it just goes to show those two trades that I lost 200 on. If I'd have executed them correctly on MU, $20 loss on SOPA, maybe $170 win. So it would have been up 150 after all the fees and borrows and everything like that. And it'd have been a very different tone of video. Well, not tone of video because it's just trading. But it'd have been quite a different video. And then the last trade I took was on ISIG. This one was a lottery play, which I'm really not happy with myself that I took it because it just shows a lack of discipline. I jumped in with 20 shares at the 50 EMA here. I think what brought this on was at the open, I was like, this is going to rip. And it did. And I didn't take part in it. And I was feeling a little bit of FOMO. But yeah, I took it. I took 20 shares at 25 and got out at 24 for a $20 loss. So I'll bring over my P&L. You can see the 3 positions and the losses I took. Not a good day, but at the same time, I'm happy that I can see once again that the opportunities that I wanted to trade, they played out how I wanted them to. I just didn't trade them particularly well. So a good bad day, I guess is how I'd look at it. And we'll just come back again tomorrow and do the same again, prepare a little bit better. And yeah, I know that one trade will get me out of a whole day of losses like this, which is always a nice feeling.